Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, while we're waiting for other people, did you have any questions and stuff that you wanted to go over?
Well, it wasn't really a question, but I kind of wanted to get your thought on, the analyze part of CoSchedule, where you can see like next to the preview. Um, what you thought of that?
Um, I think it's, you know, I haven't seen any real use for it. I mean, it's worth looking at, but when it comes to analytics, I use Ahrefs almost for everything. So, was there some part about it specifically that you thought was interesting?
Yeah, because like it would give you a rating based on the word count and an image. So I thought it was interesting that the word count was really low. It was like 111 is like the middle, perfect, which is really short.
Yeah. So it's only for the headline, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's worth using. I think it's probably more for the blogging team, right? Because the blogging team is normally going to have done the title optimization. I wish they had something like this for social media posts. Hello, everyone. I think that's everyone because Anna is not going to be able to make it today. So just Rachel, I guess we're waiting on. Marley and Kelly, did either of you guys have any questions before, I jump into kind of training stuff?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I don't either at the moment.
All right, well, I'm just going to kind of jump into things. I think I'm going to start to structure these weekly training meetings in a certain way. And the beginning of the meeting will be just to take questions from you guys if you had any issues with the assignments from last week. And also let me know if you're not able to meet your hours and you need additional tasks. I don't know if this is still an issue, but George said that let me just get my message. George is my HR supervisor. And he said that not everybody has been responding to the human resources coordinator. So if you haven't talked to your HRC recently, just make sure to check in with them and make sure to log your hours as well, because he says that the team hours are very low, which I didn't understand because you guys have been posting a lot of images and being engaging in the Facebook groups. So if it's just a matter of recording the hours, just double check that. And if
Um,
uh,
Really quick, sorry. I usually come in at around like 8 hours. Do you, is that fine, or do you want us to really push for the full 10?
I don't think 8 hours is what he was going to be talking about.
Okay.
If you're 8 hours is very close to the weekly 10 hours. So uh, and today I'm going to give you guys more assignments. We're going to, the thing with social media is you're going to be very easily able to hit the 10 hours if you want to. So I'm going to give you guys 2 more things to do this week. So are you guys seeing my screen, the Facebook page right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many images and co-schedule posts was everybody able to make throughout the week, and how much time did it take? Just so I can get an idea of how, how much to assign, I guess.
I think I did like 4, and it depends on the image. Sometimes I like scrap stuff and just completely start over if it looks really bad. So some of them take me like up to an hour, but if I like the first image that I start creating, then it doesn't take me as long.
Okay. And is that just the image or including the post? Sorry, Kelly.
That's
Okay.
including the post as well.
Okay, cool.
I was just gonna say, it's pretty much the same for me too. I think for me, I like to read the blog and then kind of research a little more about like what I think would be a good headline for the image. And so I think that's what takes the most time. So I would say maybe about an hour per post as well.
Okay. And how about you, Alex?
Probably about an hour for like a harder one if I have to research a lot more from batch analysis, or if it's something that I can find a lot of relatable links, probably like 30 minutes for the easier ones.
Okay. All right, well, I think let's just kind of stick to then 4 images / posts a week. That will take up less than half the time for the week, because I'm going to be giving you guys 2 other pieces of work. And number 1 is to wait. You guys have been sharing stuff to the Facebook group and some social media influencers, and that's all really good. So I think I'd like us to spend another quarter or third of your hours each week researching these social media influencers and sharing what you think are the best ideas back to the group. Then at the beginning of each week, we'll kind of discuss what we saw from everybody and pick out of the 3 shares that you took to the Facebook group. We'll share those directly to the Facebook page. So the idea here is just to start, continuing to learn from social media influencers and share this kind of content, because there's so much content out there that you're not going to be able to get through it all. So this is kind of a divide and conquer type of strategy. Every single one of you found something I found interesting. So let's go pick a couple right now to share to the real page. So when you guys have a chance, check out Amy, because I think over time, this may not happen now, but I'm going to be trying to turn that giant library of videos you guys have seen on YouTube into training courses. Really edit them down and make them more digestible. Don't require you guys to watch hours of me, talking about things. To really get it down to something that really works. That kind of space is very, very competitive. And I don't know about you, but I've gone through a lot of social media marketing courses and SEO courses. And, they were good in the beginning, but over time, I feel like the quality has gone down dramatically. I think this kind of happens in the online marketing space, where the best ideas don't get shared because people don't want their best ideas used against themselves. I myself, there's a lot of strategies that I will not really share with people, because the reason they work is because not a lot of people are doing them. The more competition there is out there, the less something really becomes effective. So I think that's why Amy is kind of unique in this space. The fact that she's teaching people how to make their own online courses and sell them means that she naturally is kind of giving away more of the high quality social media strategies. So Amy Porter's my pick of the week. But every single week, you know, we'll come to this Facebook group and pick out an idea that I think from each team member that was best. Rachel, your last one about video, that's a no-brainer for me, because video is, at the end of the day, going to be, it's the secret sauce to our SEO strategies. And, you know, most business owners don't have gigantic teams of online marketers, and you kind of have to pick and choose where you spend your resources. And that's, you've heard me talk about why video is so important. So Rachel, if you could take this article and share it back, where did you jump in? Because did you hear me talk about how we're gonna pick a piece of content from the Facebook group and share it to the Facebook page?
No, sorry. My Wi-Fi just went down at like 10:01, so sorry about that.
No problem. So, yeah, I was saying that the new assignments for the week is we're going to continue doing co-schedule, continue, you know, getting better at making images. That's going to be our primary goal until we really kind of master that skill. So 4 images, 4 posts a week, and just, you know, that's where I would spend, that's the first task that I would spend your time on, because like some people, you know, some people have mentioned in the call today, depending on the piece of content, it's harder or easier to do that. You know, if you like your first round of content, and don't have to make a second round of content, right? You can get through that pretty quickly. So let's start there. 4 images, 4 posts a week. And then the second piece of homework is going to be to continue to spend, you know, like a third of your weekly hours researching the top social media influencers, you know, from the list that I gave everybody originally, or doing your own research. Feel free to do your own research, because you've seen probably already that a lot of good content flies under the radar. And just because it doesn't, you know, just because it isn't highly visible to SEO programs and or in social media, doesn't necessarily mean it's bad content. So Rocks Digital is actually a pretty good example of this. I went and checked out their website because I liked this post, and they have very, very low SEO in comparison to, you know, a lot of the other pieces of content that have been shared. So yeah, Rachel, for this week, go ahead and share this back to the Facebook page. You guys should all have access to the Facebook page now. Let me make sure that that's the case.
Sorry, are you saying like Seattle's Facebook?
Yeah,
page?
Seattle Web Search Facebook page.
Cool, thanks.
So page roles, let's make sure everyone's in here. Okay, so Rachel, Kelly, Alex, Marley, it looks like I have to get you in here. Okay. All right. Yeah, Kelly, I really liked this one too. My favorite part of it is the visual element. Did anybody else have a chance to read this one? Because this one had a lot of good stuff in it. And that's, I guess, another thing that I'm not sure I assigned everyone last week, but, you know, you don't have to read the articles in full, but at least read at least read the posts that you know, that our team members are putting in the team. If you like the you know, comment or the post, go ahead and read the full article. But the idea is that in each week's meeting, we're going to kind of pick and choose each team member's best, you know, content that they found, and share that back to the Facebook page. So, yeah, let's see. Anna's not here, but, you know, this one's a very good piece of content. Since Anna's not here, I'll kind of just table that till she gets a chance to look at this recording. And Alex, I'm glad you found this, because really, SEO, you'll find social media is a lot more digestible than SEO, I think, at the end of the day. SEO is kind of, I don't know how to put it, but most people don't really have the patience for it. You know, most people don't like looking at numbers and like Ahrefs kinds of stuff. I think this guy, before they had this guy doing the YouTube channel, Ahrefs videos were the worst. Like they were so stereotypically boring And, the guy who did it, wow, they've had him for a lot longer than I thought they had. But he was like a Russian. He didn't speak great English. And then this other guy was just like monotonous voice, was like very hard to watch. So it looks like they've unlisted some of the videos from the first guy. But yeah, Sam is really good. I'm going to be recommending this kind of content to you guys more going forward. But I found that you guys have been doing a really good job not using Ahrefs, or I guess that does take me to one of my bullet points here. How much has everybody been using Ahrefs up to this point?
I mainly use batch analysis on Ahrefs. Yeah.
Do you use it much though?
Yeah, every time I make a social media post, I would use it to see to look at other websites that have the most traffic.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
the second thing that I use Ahrefs for is once I find a website that I like, once I find content that I like, I'll very often use Ahrefs to see what the rest of the website ranks for. And this kind of goes back to my point regarding Rachel, regarding your post, rocksdigital.com. I really liked this, but then when I checked out the rest of his website, I was surprised to see they don't really rank for much. And even that article itself gets like no traffic. So this is basically the main tool of Ahrefs. It's called Site Explorer, and you can run any website through it, and it's going to kind of give you all the math and history on it. So you're not going to want to pay attention to the backlink profile much. Backlinks are links from one website to another, and we'll get there eventually. But it's more of a this is how this program scores a website. It's based off its backlink score. So, but I normally would switch to the organic search tab because it has this little graph that shows me how popular the website's been at over time. So you can see, this website kind of peaked in April of 2020. I probably wouldn't want to be looking at a website that like peaked in 2018 has been trending down ever since, because and you'll see this happen quite a bit. What happens is someone gets good at SEO, they see their traffic skyrocket, and it'll do good things for their website at the time, but then they get too busy, collecting all the conversions and can't maintain that. You'll see this with businesses all the time where they don't have any clients right now, right? And so they go online, they start writing social media posts, they start doing blog posts, and they'll get some traffic, and then they'll get a client or two, and then they'll be too busy to continue doing that, and it'll go back down. They get this up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's what you see with businesses. With bigger websites, what you tend to see is they get some form of success, and then everybody steals that success. It's really unfortunate, but it's what it tends to happen. Neil Patel is the worst person when it comes to this. He is a vampire. He comes up with no good ideas himself. He basically just sits on programs like this all day long. Once he sees a keyword go up in volume, and he's got to have some kind of program for this, he will come in with his team of content makers and make higher quality content for that keyword and start to vampire that SEO away. So, this is why Neil Patel, he makes good content. I just don't like the way he runs his business. And he's just, he used to be one of my favorites, and he used to give away great original content. And then one day he got just, like I think a lot of things in America, very, corporatized, and it's all about profit now. It's all about selling his services. I'm getting off topic, but, I'll take a glance at this, and then I'll move on to top pages or organic keywords. For now, focus on top pages because it's a lot easier to digest this information very quickly. Organic keywords, I'm going to have to teach you guys how to use Excel. If you're not using Excel to sort the data from keywords, from the keyword section of Ahrefs, it's just not very pretty to sort through. So, in this case, we're looking at Marketing Insider Group. You can now see all the other pages on the website that work for them. What is marketing? Is their number one piece of content? Why social media is important for business marketing. And that's how that's when I saw that. I didn't even need to read the article to immediately, I did read the article, but, I immediately, then that's why I came in here and I shared it to, was this the article?
Was it the one before? Because you have one more comment.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So, I dumped that one in there immediately because I was just glancing over it and it's very relevant to the kind of content that we're going to be creating going forward. And then same thing, I was going down the list and saw the next one. Thought leadership really is not relevant to us as much as marketing trends. Marketing 80-20 rule is pretty relevant. That's where this is actually very relevant to social media. The idea here is that, oh no, this is a different concept altogether. So in social media, the idea is that you spend like 75% of your time promoting other people's content and, engaging with other people's content, and then 25% of the time promoting your own content. Because if all you're doing all day long is promoting your own content, people tune you out, right? And on top of that, the way the social media algorithms work, it's all about engagement. And if you're not engaging with others, you can't expect them to engage back with you. So we're gonna kind of, repeat that. But I'm getting off topic. Just Site Explorer is my second Ahrefs skill I'd recommend people kind of start to do. Once you find a piece of content that you really like, it's likely that that website, that company has created other content you may like. And, instead of having to look through all of them, Ahrefs will give you, this is what's been successful for them. So you can just work downwards. And, you can see that very quickly. What is marketing? It's 23% of their traffic. Why social media is important for business marketing, 8%, 5%, 4%. But once you get down to 1% and less than 1%, you don't really need to look at the articles anymore. You just pay attention to the keywords. If the keyword is something you find interesting, like build your personal brand, I don't really need to read the 8th most popular version of build your personal brand. I mean, by all means you can, if you really like the content from the website. I don't always believe that SEO results means good content or bad content. So if I had already read 4 or 5 articles for Marketing Insider Group that I really liked, then I would probably read this article too, or at least skim it over. But if the keyword is something that is interesting to me, I can now open that up and, kind of skip. This is, again, for just researching other keywords in the in the group, but I'd scroll down to the SERP, which is, the first page of Google essentially. And now I can see the #1 piece of content for this keyword. Not necessarily this keyword, but again, out of the first page of Google, this one gets 3,200 people, the second one gets 13, the rest of them drop off pretty dramatically. So branding is going to be pretty relevant. It's normally a term that's used for graphic design, but it's very relevant in the social media space, because you're usually trying to build a brand. If you try to promote things on social media, you're going to get tuned out. That's what Facebook ads are for. You've got to be very selective in how you promote your services or products on social media, because people aren't going to typically engage with selling to them. You have to there's no magic bullet for that. So let's see. I'm going to we're only 20 minutes in, but Kelly, this is a great article. So go ahead and depending on how much time you have, you can make 1 or 2 posts for, any one piece of content. Yeah, so the idea here is we're just going to get better at creating our own visual imagery, because visual imagery is huge in social media. I think we'll do that for another week or 2. And once everybody's got a really firm grip on Canva, we're going to move on to video. So you've probably heard me talk about Animoto, but Animoto is the primary program we use for making video. And we're going to need a full hour to kind of talk about that. But this is going to be coming down the pipeline. I'll be teaching you guys how to make, same way that we've been making images, we're making, short videos. So, all right. And then the next part to all this, we're going to share one post from social media influencers that we like every week from every team member back to the Facebook page. And then the next part of it is going to be engaging on those posts. So that's another way to kind of jumpstart the engagement process. We can all like, share, and comment on these articles. So let's start doing that. Once the team member shares these back to the page, and so if someone's posted an article today, go ahead and schedule the next one, so it goes out the next day. And then if we do it that way, every team member shares one article to the Facebook page, and you don't need to share it necessarily, because I don't think we can share since it's a private group, we're not allowed to share. But you just take the same link, right, and you go to the Facebook page and you post it. But if someone's posted today, go ahead and schedule it for tomorrow. And then if someone scheduled it for tomorrow, schedule it for the next day. So actually, everybody go ahead and let's do this right now. Kelly, go ahead and post this one. Rachel, go ahead and share this one for tomorrow. And then Alex, go ahead and share and post this one for Thursday. And then let's see. Marley, let's see. I didn't get a chance to read this one over. Did you share any? Oh, here. Blogging Wizard. Did you only share two, Marley, those two?
Yeah, just those two.
Okay, let me just read them over real quick. But while everybody else, while I'm reading these over, everybody else go to the Facebook page and post them. Marley, I'm going to add you to the Facebook page since I didn't see you on there. So let's just see how much SEO these get.
Do you want us to write anything in the post?
For right now,
Just
since we're just trying to move quickly, go ahead and just
Mhm.
copy over the post that you already did in the Facebook group.
Okay.
If you need to tweak it a little bit, because we were talking to a private group before, and now we're going to be talking to the public, go ahead and do that. But
Okay.
going forward, yeah, once we've decided we like this piece of content, if you think you can improve on the post that you put in the Facebook group, go ahead and do that. And if there's 2 or 3 ideas from the article that you liked, go ahead and make it 2 or 3 posts. In the beginning, it's going to be a learning process, but over time you're going to get better at it. So the idea here is that we spend up to half your hours, getting better at making images, because that's the primary thing we want to get better at. Once we've really nailed that down, we're going to move on to making short videos. Then the number 2 thing is kind of spend a quarter of your time, a third of your time, depending, on how things go, researching influencers. And then the remaining third of your time posting what we picked from last week, what everybody liked from the last week's influencer research to the Facebook page. And then don't forget to engage on the ones that land on the Facebook page on the public side of things. Marley, can you share your Facebook email address with me in Skype?
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Okay.
Okay, I just shared it.
So Kelly, you shared it for today, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And then Alex, you're gonna do Thursday. Marley Friday. Okay. Marley, you should have gotten access to the Facebook page. Oops, it said you're having trouble completing your request. 1 second. Okay, so everybody go ahead and, like, comment on Kelly's post. If you were working for a business, you would at this point probably share it to your own personal profile. Or if you had your own business, or you were doing this for a nonprofit, or you're doing this for someone else, you would probably share it back to your personal account, because unfortunately the way Facebook is today, your personal account is going to have significantly more visibility than a Facebook page is going to be until you're able to kind of build up that engagement. So I don't expect you guys to do that. I myself I have avoided social media for a long time because I didn't like that part of it. That's part of the reason why you saw me having 2 Facebook accounts, is I'm creating that second Facebook account so that I can freely share content from, businesses back to the personal page without kind of mixing up, that side of it with my own personal use of Facebook. So that's kind of the way engagement works now on Facebook. In the past, what it used to do is if you got engagement on a page on any kind of your content, it would just improve your engagement score in general. The higher your engagement score, the more visible you would be in general. They have changed it since, so that engagement is directly tied into who's engaging it and where. So if you guys engage on content from my Facebook page, the only people that's really visible to are other people that have already liked my Facebook page. So your friends and family, if they haven't liked SeattleWebSearch.com, they're not going to see that engagement. It's not going to pop up in their feed, you did this somewhere else. So that's part of the reason why sharing content back to your personal account is so important. Once you do it that way, like if you were to take a link from SeattleWebSearch.com and you share it directly to your personal feed, it'd become visible to basically all your personal people. Not all of them at once, because there is still a organic reach filter, and that just means that they're always trying to. If you post something, it's not visible to everyone. Again, that's, going back to what I was talking about Facebook groups. That's why Facebook groups are so powerful. Facebook groups, once you post something in a Facebook group, that post is visible to everyone in the Facebook group. There is no filter like there is when it comes back to your personal feed. All right, so Marley, I don't know what's going on with Facebook. It literally just is giving me this. So I'll let you know as soon as this stops happening, and I'll message you on Skype, so that
Yeah,
you can
sounds
go and
good.
get it scheduled.
Okay.
All right. So we have blown through my to-do list very quickly. Does anybody have any questions before I move on? I only have one last thing for you guys today, and that's really to continue talking about Facebook groups. So does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over already? or any ideas? No? Okay. All right, so back to Facebook groups. Facebook groups should become a primary piece of your social media repertoire. Again, going back to what I said before, it's really, besides running events, which has been severely hampered by coronavirus, Facebook groups are the #1 place to really kind of break the algorithm. There's 3 places to break the algorithm. Number 1, running an event. If you run an event, it has additional reach above almost anything else. But because of coronavirus and because people aren't able to have large gatherings, that's not being in use right now. The second thing that has incredible reach is Facebook groups. Facebook groups have become much more powerful because the events side of things has been hampered down by coronavirus. Go ahead and find Facebook groups that you like. Once you find a piece of content that you like, see if they have any groups. I do this all the time. So I've joined 2 groups recently. This one for basically YouTubers, for new YouTubers. I don't expect you guys to join this group really. It's more on I'm doing this more for research purposes for the video team. But like the one that I did show you guys, and I put this in the about section of our team, was for Amy Porterfield. I'm going to share the login for you actually. What she does is to sell her new training course, which is coming out coming out next month. She has, given everybody the first chapter of the training course for free. So I was just looking at that earlier. Let me go find that. She emailed it to me. She does a really good job across the board. Her website is incredibly streamlined. You make one decision, it kind of strips out all the unnecessary elements, and that's the only difference between a landing page and a regular page on your website. If you go to my website and you go to any blog post, right, you can always navigate to a million other different options, right? You got all these top links here. You can go back to the home page, right? If I go into this blog post, it gets rid of that sidebar. A lot of people don't get rid of that sidebar. But again, the more options there are available to people, the less you're funneling them in certain directions. And that's how you can kind of improve conversion rates and design content in a way so that a certain piece of content leads to another piece of content, and steer people in a direction that you can get someone to a conversion. So Amy's website is really good that way. And then the way she does her social media, same thing. It's so you can see that this social media post goes to this, basically a landing page, right? There's no additional navigation here. Just kind of tells you what the course is going to be about. There's really only one option to take on this page. It's to save your spot and to log in, to kind of check out the course. If you don't want to check out the course, her final thing is to register for an event, a master class. I don't know. I didn't even get to this part. I just signed up for the course. But that's why I find her to be really interesting, is that a lot of people, what they do wrong with their websites and do wrong with their social media is that they don't structure it in a way where you're taking unnecessary decision making out of the hands of the visitor. It's a common psychological fact that if you give someone 2 options, they actually have 3 options. They can either choose option A, choose option B, or do nothing at all. If you give people 1 option, they've got 2 options. They either take the option provided to them, or they do no options. So, if you give, and it's also, you can, I learned this from a sales consultant that was a client of mine, that if it takes on average 7 to 8 interactions with someone to turn something into a sale. So, the getting someone to your website, you're normally not going to get them on the first go. And this is why, going back to just common marketing strategy, You don't want to sell too early. You want to establish trust. You want to educate people on why they should care. You want to provide an opportunity for them to stick around. Make it as easy on them as possible. The longer they stick around, the more likely they are to convert. If you try to convert someone too early, not going to happen. So this is one of the main reasons why I liked Amy, is because I've seen a lot of SEO. I've gone through I've seen a lot of marketing strategies, and without a doubt, at least to me, it spoke to me, and the way everything was set up from the website to the social media. I think the YouTube was the only thing that I had a problem with. Yeah, she doesn't like YouTube, which, already you guys know, I am a big proponent of YouTube. But everything else is really good. So what I was going with that is, I decided that I liked Amy's website. I decided that I liked her email newsletter, and I decided that I liked her Facebook strategy. So I went and joined her Facebook group. And this is somewhere that I would recommend you start to do your research a little bit more, because SEO, you guys have a huge advantage with this Ahrefs program. It allows you to kind of beat the algorithm. Instead of relying on Google knowing everything about you and, factoring your search history into getting, the best content for you, that doesn't always work. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. And, I don't want to get political too quickly, but, there's a lot of misinformation out there. People believe what they want to believe, and they find what they want to find on the internet. And that's because the algorithm is designed that way. And, so Ahrefs allows you to kind of avoid mistakes in that respect. If you believe the earth is flat, you can go and find websites that say the earth is flat. So, that's where I have to say that SEO and social media the social media is the same issue. But once you find people that you like, once you find content that you like, if you join those Facebook groups, you're going to end up surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And on top of that, you don't have to do all the research yourself anymore. These Facebook groups are great places to learn. You're basically standing on the shoulders of other people who spend a lot of time and energy doing this stuff. And instead of recreating the wheel, you can kind of piggyback on their knowledge and their expertise. So, I'm not going to assign any homework on there yet, but I would highly recommend in your research phase of checking out influencers, you start to really recognize that groups are, in my opinion, the #1 way to beat the Facebook algorithm, and something you guys should always keep in mind. Find good groups, because that's another thing that I was going to get to. I have my clients ask me all the time, how can we get more engagement to our Facebook pages? And I tell them, start joining groups and engaging in those groups. Find the commenters that you like, find the people in those groups that post content that you like, and engage with those posts. Like, comment, and share them. You do that for a month or two before you even considering promoting your own content, because a lot of these groups have rules in them that say no self-promotion. Well, what they're talking about is no blatant self-promotion. Everybody's on some level of promoting themselves the second you engage, because the second you engage, you become visible. You're no longer just hiding in the background, but as soon as you engage, but you become more visible. So engagement is a form of promotion. What they're talking about is they don't want people jumping into these groups and spamming them, essentially. So I think that's where I'm going to end the call today. We've really gotten through my list very, very quickly, and I think it works a lot better when we kind of keep these team meetings on the shorter side of things before I start repeating myself. So just to recap, we're going to spend up to half of our weekly hours continuing to make images and really mastering that skill. You're never going you can always get better at it. Once you get really good at Canva, you can find another program to use. I'm going to try using Canva more, because it does save a lot of time. It's good at what it does. I use Photoshop just because I'm a Photoshop junkie. I have been my whole life. but Photoshop takes a lot of time to use. So, and then there's many other tools out there for making images. And then on top of making your own images, you know, research is very helpful. Finding a good image is a lot faster than making one. So, yep, you know, just getting good at the visual side of creating content is always going to be, in my opinion, the most powerful social media skill. Then number 2, let's continue just researching top influencers and sharing at least 2 to 3 pieces of content from influencers that you like each week back to the Facebook group. And then each week at the training meeting, we will pick one piece of content from each team member, and we will schedule that out to the Facebook page throughout the week. And then we'll engage on it, you know. Yeah, you know, at a minimum, like the posts on the on SeattleWebSearch.com's Facebook page. But you know, if you had a comment in the group, copy the comment over to the Facebook page as well. I don't want to make that homework right now because I have had this experience with the social media team in the past that when I made engagement homework, it was, you know, engagement needs to kind of come from the heart. If you're just putting, you know, just putting engagement posts without really thinking about it, it's gonna, you know, it's not gonna look good. Engagement really, if you like what you're seeing, explain why you like it, but keep that engagement organic. Don't force it. So the only real homework is to at least like the comments and just practice engaging when you're out and about on the internet in Facebook groups. The better you get at engaging on social media, I mean, it's just if you don't practice that skill, and I'm a poster child of this, you're never going to really get good at social media. You got to get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. I'm a big introvert, and I'm working on it now because there's no point in doing social media if you're not going to engage. It just doesn't work. So just practice that organically while you're out and about, and over time, that's going to become homework. But I don't want to rush into it. All right, so anybody have any questions? And, you know, if you want to, go ahead and you can shoot them to me on Skype too, if you prefer doing it that way. We're good? All right, we'll just call it there. Hope everybody has a good week. And yep, I will, and we'll go, and I'll look out for, yeah, don't forget to check out the Facebook page, you know, to engage on the posts. I think, oh yeah, that's something I forgot to tell you guys. This is how you kind of keep up with pages that, you know, again, going back to beating that organic reach filter. If you don't engage with a page, you're not necessarily going to see every single post. So what you want to do is, where is it? Okay, so right here, you click following, and then you see first in your news feed. And, you know, notifications on, theoretically, depending on how you like doing your notifications. But what it does normally is going to be done by default. And default is where it all completely depends on how often you check out that Facebook page and, you know, whether you engage with it or not. This is how you're going to want to do it for Facebook pages that you're personally managing and, you know, that you're personally doing the social media campaigns for. Cool. All right. Well, then, yep, we'll go from there, and everybody have a good week.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.